and welcome to Monsters and Mentors Day 3. Welcome back. Come on, stand up. If you're capable, please stand up out of your seat. Just get the oxygen flowing. Remember what we said yesterday. All about physiology. That was a really quick one today. Take a seat, get ready. Let's catch up with where we're at on our hero's journey. So I just want to congratulate you for showing up on day 3. Can you believe that we're already past the halfway mark of this seminar? Right? It goes by so quickly, but not only are we past halfway, but in just 2 days, you've learned how to slay 6 different monsters on your personal development journey. Monsters that we've all met before, monsters that have maybe defeated us in the past. You now know how to slay those monsters. And that is such a powerful thing. That is a huge breakthrough, guys. So just give yourselves a real big hand, because those are the things that stop us from reaching that next level, that ignite the fear in us, that makes us think we can't do something. And having these tools shows us that the only person standing in our way is usually us. It's our mindset, it's our physiology, it's the belief we have in ourselves, it's the lack of clarity. You've learned how to conquer all those monsters in just 2 days. And so today we're moving on within the hero's journey, and we're shifting from monsters to villains. So we've slayed 6 monsters, and now we're going to talk about villains. Now, villains usually come in the form of people, and we're going to be discussing villains as dream killers. Okay, so today we're talking about dream killers, and they usually come in the form of villains. And villains, just like in a Disney fantasy movie or like a hero movie, sometimes those villains carry poison. Poison that we take unknowingly, that slowly kill our dream, our desires, our passion, our purpose, and our confidence. Anybody met some of those villains, drank some of that poison before, where you just felt your confidence was crushed or the life was just snuffed out on your dream? Yeah, I think we all have. I think we all have had that moment where we're so excited about our passionate purpose that we've decided to live, and some poison infiltrates that dream and it crushes our soul, and it almost feels like a little piece of you dies, because it's that little piece of you that you were going to put into the world that seems like it's never going to happen anymore. Yeah. So here's the thing. I just want to do a quick recap on physiology, because we did that really fast yesterday, but why do I focus so much on being in a peak state? So, when I've said to you the last few days, I'm like, sit in your chair and sit with authority and breathe deep. And I told you a little bit about it yesterday, about getting the oxygen to your brain, because when we're in a peak physiological state, it's so much easier for our brain to get into a positive emotional state. Now, when we are in a better emotional state, remember, the quality of our life is directly affected by the emotional state that we're choosing to live in. Now, when we're in a peak state, and it's easier for us to get into a better emotional state, we make better choices. Now, think of a time in your life. If you need to close your eyes for this, it's totally fine. If you are happy to just think about it and write it down, that's cool. But think about a time in your life where you come to a crossroads and you weren't in a good emotional state. You were either depressed or very upset or very reactive, very explosive. Maybe you were very angry, very frustrated. Maybe you were just really stressed, and a decision came across your path and you ended up making the decision badly, or you made the wrong decision completely because you weren't in the right state of mind. Like sometimes when we are extremely frustrated and our kids ask us for something, we snap at them because we're keeping all this pent up stuff in, and we snap at them. And then later on, we realize that we really negatively impacted our kid. And at the end of the day, it's like, but I didn't really want to do that. I just wasn't in the right state of mind. Or maybe it's a conversation you're having with your partner. You need to have a deep, meaningful conversation with your partner, but you're so explosive and reactive that You don't allow your partner to be vulnerable because you're not ready to be vulnerable. And because you're not in the right emotional state, instead of building on that relationship, you actually help it crumble and fail apart a little bit more. Yeah. Maybe it's a business decision you made and you had to make it under pressure and you were angry and frustrated. And so you made an impulsive decision in your business that wasn't the best because you were so frustrated and angry that you couldn't see past it. There was a lack of clarity. And so this is the importance of keeping yourself in a peak emotional state. And this forms part of TBM's leadership course. So if you've ever done a leadership program with us, some of you who are part of the GRIP team, the Greater Rape Intervention Program, we are working with you to do leadership programs with you. And you've realized some of this already and you've experienced some of this. But the reason we want to keep you in a peak emotional state is because we want you to lead your life. And being a leader doesn't mean having other people follow you. It doesn't mean everyone needs to follow you. But being a leader means being able to make good, conscious, responsive decisions. So not reactive decisions, but responsive decisions in the face of chaos. And something I often say in my leadership workshops and programs is that you don't need a leader when everything's going well. Like when things are going good, we don't need someone telling us what to do because we're like, I've got to figure out things are going well. So obviously I'm doing something right. We need a leader in the face of chaos. And that's who we need to be for ourselves. When external factors are not going the way we want them to, we need to be able to come to a peak state to say, I'm okay. I don't need to react to this. I'm going to pause, look at my tools, my monster slaying tools, and see which monsters I'm facing, how to slay them, so that I can make responsive decisions. And this is the difference. This is that key difference. If you felt like there was that key of success, just hands up if you felt like there's like the secret to success that people just aren't letting you in on. This is one of them. Okay. So one of the keys to success is being able to have chaos externally, but total calm and peace internally, knowing that you are equipped with everything you need to face uncertain challenges. So to face those monsters along your journey. And if you don't have those tools, knowing that you have the program right here to say, where would I find those tools? Where would I get the advice to face this challenge? And that is the power of being in a peak state. And it affects every part of our lives. So going back to that wheel of life, can you see how everything that we're learning in the last 2, 3, 4 days, it's going to be stacking on top of each other. And you'll find that when you look at it in your life, when you apply these tools and everything we've spoken about, when you apply it to your life, it works like a layer. It's not separate things that you've learned. Although we're doing, oh, I've got a blurry camera. Although we're doing different days, it's not that those days are compartmentalized. No, they form layers in the journey, and you can use any one of them at any time. Okay, so being in a peak state really allows you, it's that key to success that allows you to break through what other people can't. And that's what's really inspiring. So if you're wanting to be a leader, not just in your own life, if you want to be a leader at work, in your home, stop reacting and start responding. Start taking the breath and taking the time to put yourself in a peak state. Look at the monsters you're facing. Look at the tools you've learned in the last 2 days and say, this is the monster and this is how I deal with it. Take the time to do it and you'll almost always find the answer. In my personal experience, I've never not found the answer. It's always been right there. The only time I felt like I don't have the answer, I just ask my brain, where would I start looking for that answer? And instantly I get the response. Remember, quality questions, quality answers. Poor quality questions, your brain's going to give you poor quality answers. All right, guys, I want to jump in to day 3. So just go in your workbook to the first page that's called Part 4, Tests, Allies, and Enemies, and it says day 3. Okay, so jumping into day 3, we have shifted from monsters to villains. Now, villains don't carry boogie monster traits. What they carry is poison. And the thing about poison is some poison can kill a dream instantly. Some poison eats away slowly at the dream until one day we look back and we've done a lot of that credit card life swiping. You know, that remember we spoke about that on the first day? The life debt credit card that we keep swiping our limiting beliefs on, and then we get those high interest rates of guilt and self-loathing. Okay, so some poison encourages that kind of debt in our life. So a dream killer. Now, have any of you had an idea or a dream or a passion that you've been so excited about, like it set your soul on fire, that you felt compelled to share it with somebody that you loved, admired, and trusted? Hands up if you've ever done that. Yeah. I think we've all had that moment where we're like, just had this amazing idea of how I'm going to impact the world. And you go and you share it with someone. And how many of us have shared it with someone who have very quickly shown us how impossible that idea is, and suddenly that dream and idea is crushed? So what you're going to learn in this is the quickest way to kill a dream is to tell the wrong person, because you need to decipher, am I telling the dream to a dream killer, a villain, or am I telling the dream to a fairy godmother, a dream grower, someone who's going to inspire, motivate, and encourage me to carry on doing what I'm doing? All right, so let's look at this. So in terms of the different dream killer villains, got a couple of them. And on your journey into your hero's journey, you probably would have come across at least one of them, if not all of them, at some point in your life. So the first one we have is what I like to call the conversational narcissist. Now, this is when you've got that dream, you're super passionate, and there's usually somebody who, in your eyes, might be like a go-getter or very entrepreneurship kind of vibes, or someone who you look to and you're like, oh my gosh, this is someone I need to tell because they'll know how I should get there. And you'll go to them and you'll share this passion, this dream, this idea, and a conversational narcissist will keep turning the conversation back to them. And so what happens is the poison that they're feeding you is what I like to call the buzzkill poison. So basically, you tell a conversational narcissist something that's yours, you share something that's yours with them, and they buzzkill it. They use a buzzkill poison to basically absorb your energy and excitement and your passion and make it their own. And suddenly you leave the conversation feeling like, did I just give away something that was mine, and now someone else is going to take that energy and passion, and you feel less passionate about it? Yeah. Okay, so we all know that conversational narcissist. How does a conversational narcissist work? So you'll say, oh my gosh, I've got this great idea. This is what it is. And instead of them saying something like, that sounds incredible, tell me more, that sounds great, what they'll say is, oh my gosh, I had such a similar idea. Basically, my idea is this. And they'll either totally go off on a tangent on their idea, or they'll take your idea and put their own spin on it. And suddenly you're feeling like, okay, but I'm telling you about my dream and my fireworks, and now you're taking the light. And then you might say something like, but mine is different because X, Y, and Z. And I'm really passionate about it. And instead of saying, that's wow, so tell me about the passion. What got you started on this journey? Is they'll say, I've been down a similar journey, and my passion and my story is exactly the same. And they'll continue to feed you the buzz kill poison. And very quickly you will leave the conversation, and you would have given that special thing up to a conversational narcissist who absorbs your energy and your passion and your power and leaves you feeling empty, low energy, and low battery. Now, if any of you watch Disney, and I have to admit I'm an adult and I still love Disney movies, because understanding what I know now is I get the hero's journey in pretty much every Disney movie, and I can kind of see the plot and the twist. And one that I watched recently was called Wish. And what happens is, in the story, people, instead of facing the risk of going after their dream, their desire, what they do is they hand it over to a king, a sorcering king, a magic king. They hand over their wish. And although they hand it over and they feel like, oh, well, I can't even remember what made me so excited about life, they hand it over and he pretends that he's going to protect it. And I feel like the conversational narcissist is very much the same. They meet you with energy, but it's not an energy that empowers you, it's an energy that drains you. So instead of being an energy encourager, they actually suck your energy. And basically, in this Disney movie Wish, people give up their fireworks instead of understanding that, you know, every sort of dream, every wish and passion has an element of risk. And you never want to give it up, because that wish that desire, it's yours. And so one thing we must understand is it's very difficult to share our ideas and our dreams with people who can't understand the idea. And know this, that your dream, your passion, your desire, that great idea you have, that is a very, very, very special gift given to you by whatever you believe in, the universe, God, it doesn't matter what you believe in, but that is a very unique, special gift given only to you. You know, the way you are envisioning it, it's only given to you. And so when we share it openly with anyone and everyone, most people will shut it down because they don't understand, because they weren't given the vision. They were not given that gift. They'll have their own. They'll have their own vision. You know, they'll have their own idea, their own vision. But yours is yours. And so don't give it up to the wrong people because they're going to give you poison. So the conversational narcissist, that feeds the buzzkill poison. It's energy draining. We feel like we've given up our dream, and we suddenly wonder like if the conversational narcissist might take that dream and make it their own. Yeah. Hands up if you've experienced a conversational narcissist. Pretty much every one of us has experienced a conversational narcissist at some point in our life. So our next villain, our next dream killer villain. This is like a gang. So if we talk about dream killers is like a gang of villains, and they work together to kill our dreams. So the next kind of villain in dream killer gang, I like to call the tailgaters. And what the tailgaters do is they give us the added pressure poison. Okay, now we spoke about when we were doing our SMART goals. Remember, we spoke about having a time-bound deadline and increments of measurement that ignite our momentum and give us a certain urgency, a certain level of urgency that keeps us like on fire, so that we don't think we can just stop and not go after our goal. We've got this level of urgency that's like, you have a deadline to meet. Now, urgency and added pressure are very different things. Now, what a tailgater does is they're a dream killer in a different kind of way. And they're very difficult to spot because they actually are excited about your dream. But what they want to do is they want to ride your dream for their benefit. Now, you're probably thinking, but Jess, surely if we're going to grow together and you've spoken about community, we want to share our dreams to like enhance our community and like get people on board. And you're not wrong. But there's people who want to grow shoulder to shoulder with you. And there's people who expect you to carry them on your dream while making your dream happen so that they can benefit. That's a tailgater. Now, tailgater, they'll listen to your idea and your dream and they'll go, that is amazing. And you know, if you connect with me, if I help you, then this is how I can do this in your dream, and that will benefit me. And so all they see while you're telling them about this firework, this spark in your soul, while you're telling them about that, all they're seeing is how it's going to benefit them. There's no like, I'm so excited for you. That is amazing. Like, I'm here if you need me. See, the difference between a tailgate and a sidekick is if you need me and you'd like me to join in on this journey, it would be amazing. But otherwise, I'm just really excited for you to succeed. Difference between a tailgater who's like, I can see your idea happening and I can see this is how it's going to benefit me, mostly me. And there's very little concern about the risk that you have to take. The other thing you'll notice about tailgaters is when they make a deal with you, a deal to share in your dream, most of the risk will be on you and not on them. So it will be like your energy, your finances, your mind, your risk. You're paying for all the hard lessons. But when you succeed, I will benefit. That's a tailgater. Okay, tailgater, they give us that added pressure poison, bad poison. And it's one that eats us slowly because what happens is, so it's not like the conversational narcissist who's giving us the quick buzzkill poison. No, the tailgater poison, that added pressure poison is slower because first, when we're excited to share our dream and our passion with somebody, what happens is we're just super excited that someone else is excited with us. And so we often take on the tailgater, and slowly while we're going on our journey, we're realizing like, hey, I'm doing all the work and I'm taking all the risk. And I feel this added pressure that if I fail, this other person who's not taking any of the risk or putting in any of the effort, they're also not going to be happy with me. And now I've got my added pressure. That is the slow poison. and you only realize it a little bit down the line. So now that you've got the red flag, you should be able to recognize them. Okay, our next villain dream killer, okay, is the know-it-all dream killer. Hands up if I don't even need to really explain this one. Hands up if you've ever told your dream or idea to a know-it-all dream killer. I'm going to explain it, but we probably realize who this person is. Our know-it-all villain feeds us the passion killer poison. And sometimes, not always, but very often, it's actually a loved one that we go to who has tried something in the past that didn't work for them. And so what they do is when you tell them about your idea or the spark or this passion is, they project their own failures and insecurities on you. And so again, it can either be a quick thing, it can be a quick poison, or they can use a slow poison to slowly talk you out of ever trying anything of your own. Or it can be super quick where they cut your idea at the knees and say, I've tried it before, it hasn't worked, and these are all the things I encountered. Now we know that someone else's failures are our lessons. So instead of listening and saying, wow, so those were your failures, how would you not have that happen again? You know, if you were to do this again, how would you avoid those failures? What would you have done differently? Those are the questions we should be asking. Okay. So our dream killers that come in the form of the know-it-alls, they'll often do that. I've done it before, it's been done before, it's not going to work. I'll tell you why it doesn't work because I know it doesn't work. It's never worked. And the thing is, we should never, ever, ever take the advice of people who aren't where we want to be. Very similarly, we shouldn't be sharing our dreams with those people either. The last villain and poison giver in our dream killer gang is called the Dobby Downer. Okay? Now, the Dobby Downer is a warrior. And not like a fighting warrior, as in like they're the stressors. They stress about everything. Any little risk, any little step out the comfort zone, they stress. And so what they do is they give us a very heavy dose of fear poison, which is our false expectations appearing real. And so you'll tell them about this idea, and they might listen excitedly because they can see the passion, and passion is contagious. Passion and excitement is definitely contagious. So they see it, they hear it, and they're excited as they're thinking about how you're going to do it, because they don't have the tools you have. They don't know how to get rid of the how monster. They don't know how to get through the lack of clarity monster. They don't know how to get through those monsters. All they can see are all the monsters you're going to face. And so they start to give you all the impossibilities. Well, what if this goes wrong? Well, is it a good idea? Someone else did it before and they failed. And so the Dobby Downers give you a very heavy dose of the fear poison, the false expectations appearing real. And for those people, those fears are very real. But remember, they don't have the weapons that you've learned in this seminar to slay those monsters. And so you no longer need to take that poison. You can give them a pat on the back and say, don't you worry about me. I know how to solve those problems. The biggest thing we need to understand when sharing our dreams is we need to be hyper aware of the people we're around. And while I've gone through these villains, you probably know someone that you've shared a dream with in your past who's been one of these villains, the conversational narcissist, the tailgater, the know-it-all, or the Dobby Downer. Okay, maybe you know someone who's all four. And so what I'm here to tell you is stop sharing your dream with those people. Those people are amazing. And I'm not saying we burn bridges. We never burn bridges because those could be friends and loved ones who are genuinely giving us advice because they're trying to protect us. But remember, being safe doesn't mean we're happy. Okay, so at some point, we have to break free from everyone else's protection, which can become a poison to us, and say, I'm going to take the risk because I know how to deal with the obstacles. And that is the power of what you've learned over the last 2 days, and what you're still learning over the next 2 days is it's being able to do what others can't. You've just gained superhero powers. You've got the Jedi sword, you've got the lightsaber, like you've got what it takes now. You've got the potions, the powers, the weapons, everything you need to do what other people haven't. So all these people's poison will no longer affect you because you know how to deal with what they're worried about. So who do you share your dream with? Okay? And how do you share your dream with the people who are trying to protect you? Because once you know these people are just trying to keep me safe and I don't want to cut them out of my dream. So there's two communities you need. The dream killers are people who are in a state of mind where they need to see it to believe it. So instead of telling them your dream and your idea, make it happen and share it with them. Say, I started doing this a couple months ago, and this is what's happened in my life. And I wanted to share it with you because I know you've always tried to protect me and keep me safe, and you've always wanted the best for me. And I just wanted to share with you this amazing thing that has happened in my life. So that is the one step in handling a dream killer, is not trying to tell them your idea before it's happened, but actually making it happen and then showing them that they can actually dream as well. That it's okay to have dreams. It's okay to take a risk. It's okay to think that something might be possible again. And you might be their inspiration to start their own hero's journey. But what I asked earlier was, who do you share your dream with? Because holding your dream all by yourself, it's powerful and you want to protect it, but at the same time, it's so good knowing that there's someone out there who wants you to succeed and who's ready to help you when you say, I don't have the answers on how I'm going to make this happen. Someone who's there to say, I'm there with you. And that's the importance of this community that you're building right here. So joining the private Facebook group, coming to, inner circle membership, anything like that, having that support group where people are genuinely excited for you to dream because it gives them permission to dream, where people are inspiring and ready to help you when you have a low point or a question. Those are the dream growers. So they're the people who go to, they're like your fairy godmothers, your sidekicks, your fairy godmothers. They're on the journey to say, oh, we love this idea and it's beautiful, and how can we help you? How can we make it happen for you? And even if you don't need their help, when you share your success, they'll go, oh, that is amazing. Well done. Now, there's another kind of villain that exists, and they're not exactly a dream killer because they usually come after you've achieved something, but it's a villain who basically wants to diminish your accomplishments. Okay. Now, when a hero has a victory, and you know the hero movies, and it's like as soon as the victory happens, it's like a big celebration, a big meaningful celebration with loved ones. They usually go back to their family or their partners and they share this amazing accomplishment and achievement. Now, the other villain exists where it's kind of a small villain. It's kind of like a weevil. It that sucks in there and it eats away at the victory and it diminishes the victory because it says it's not that big a deal. Okay, anyone met that person where you finally you make it happen and you're like, this is what I did, and they're like, oh, okay, and they're not interested. Yeah, okay, so that is another kind of villain. I like to call them weevils. You can come up with a name for it yourself, but basically what they do is no matter what you do, they put down what you've done. Like that's not a big deal. And sometimes they'll start with that's not a big deal, and they'll quickly turn into a conversational narcissist, which is like, look what I've done in my life. Or you would have finally got that 50 extra K in your bank account that you were thinking about on day one, and they'll say, oh, that's nothing. I'm a millionaire. And so what they do is they take your victory that you've worked really hard for and they put it down. And here's what I want you to understand about this. Real successful people, people who are truly, truly happy and fulfilled and successful, don't need to put other people's successes down, no matter how big or small. Because someone who's truly successful will look at your success as your success. It doesn't diminish their accomplishments or lack thereof. Now, you see, the problem with these villains that we're talking about now is as soon as you accomplish something, they put it down or they're not that interested because it's actually a reflection on where they are at in the hero's journey. Now, if some of you are wondering where that person might be at, they're at the refuse to call, the refusal of call. So they know that they can do more. They've watched you do more and it's inspiring them, but where they're at is they're at the limiting belief stage. And so you can choose two points of action. Either you can just say, I'm not going to share my accomplishments with them because they put me down. And obviously they're not ready to hear the success of other people. Or you can introduce them to monsters and mentors and say, I really, even though my success doesn't mean much to you, I'd really like to see you try something like this. and I know of a free seminar, and you send them here and let them discover. Remember, we always want to pay it forward. Let them discover how to abolish that limiting belief monster so that they too can go forward on their journey. And you'll very quickly realize that people who are truly happy and successful are so happy for you to succeed, and they're not jealous of your success because your dream is not their dream. And so they're quite happy for you to succeed in any area of your life. And they realize that your success in a field that they are trying to succeed in isn't competition. They see you as a mentor. They go, that is amazing. I'm trying to do the same thing. Can you give me some advice? And suddenly you become the mentor on someone else's hero's journey. And so make sure that when you're sharing your successes and your dreams, that you're sharing it with the right people. And so that brings me to my next point is, no matter how small, big or small, you feel it is or other people feel it is, celebrate your victories. Take a moment to be present. And although we want to keep momentum, you want to make sure that you're taking the moment to celebrate those victories. And now when we look at our SMART goals, we've got those 5 increments of measurement that we made, right? The 5 increments of measurement. Every time you meet one of those steps, celebrate. Why do we do that? Why do we want to celebrate each step that we take? Well, not only is it like a marker of how far you've come, but if you work hard, if you work really, really hard, and you never have any reward for that work, how eager are you to keep working hard? Like, how much more passion does that instill in you? And any one of us who's ever worked for anybody else, an office job or working to make somebody else rich, you would have experienced that amazing gift of when you do your job well, you get rewarded with more work. And how happy are you when you get rewarded with more work and less pay? Hands up if you're not very happy when that happens. Yeah. And funnily enough, that is usually how we tackle goals. Is we'll say, I've just got to keep going until I achieve it. And you're not wrong, but those 5 increments of measurement are there for you to reap rewards along the journey. Because having that, I worked this hard to get this much, and I can experience the reward now and I can feel it. That helps us keep the momentum to keep taking those actions, to keep repeating that pattern. Because working hard without reward, basically what we're doing is we're just running our battery low. We're just burning ourselves out until we're just like, you know what, something's got to give. That wheel of life, something on the tire gives out, and we basically steer far off of the future that we have planned for ourselves. Powerful, right? So make sure that you celebrate your victories, and more importantly, that you celebrate the victories in a meaningful way. For example, if one of the things you put down on day 1 was you want to get your physical health in order, and when you finally learn how to manage your diet, or you finally run that 20 Ks and you're like, I'm going to reward myself with a whole piece of cake and a milkshake and junk food, then what you're doing is you're actually backtracking on your goal. What you should be doing is, how can I meaningfully experience the reward of what I've accomplished? For example, getting the extra 50K in your bank account and then going and blowing it all on one thing might not be the way you want to reward yourself, because then you're back at square one. You may want to say, well, now I have the opportunity to invest wisely. Now I've got enough money to learn about investments. Now I've got enough money to go to a program or go to a seminar that's going to help me double this, double the reward. So look at how you can achieve something and celebrate it in a way that continues to grow yourself and your reward along the journey. So moving on from that, I want you to just take a moment. You can stand if you want to, breathe it up, make sure you're sitting with authority. Take a deep breath, close your eyes. I want you to take just 1 minute. I'm going to put some music on, and I want you to write down any breakthrough or meaningful lesson, any new piece of information that landed for you or breakthrough that you had in the last 2 days. I want you to write as many of them as you possibly can down. So you'll see it's on first page for today's workshop. So first page at the bottom. So I want you to celebrate anything. I want you to write anything that you didn't know prior or anything that you've gained deeper knowledge on. Take the time. I'm going to put some music on. Any lesson, any breakthrough you've had in the last 2 days, write it down. So guys, why I asked you to do this exercise was sometimes when we are going on an exciting journey and we're learning so much, we often don't take the time to grasp the knowledge that we've taken. And remember what I asked you to do at the very beginning of the seminar is I asked you to, although the seminar is free, it's worth almost 5,000 Rand. And I asked you to play full out and be present in this event as though you had paid that amount of money. And now just imagine, so close your eyes for me. I want you to imagine that you had actually done whatever it takes to pay 5,000 Rand to come to this event. Just imagine in your head that no matter what it did, you made a plan to pay 5,000 Rand to come to this event. Just imagine that you did that. Okay, you imagine that you actually paid that money. Tell me and ask your brain, how much focus and energy would you put into gaining as much value as possible from these 4 days if you had actually paid the 5,000 Rand? How many notes would you be taking? How much focus would you be putting into this? How much energy would you be focusing and putting into the seminar? And what would you be trying to get from this? How much value would you be squeezing out of everything that is being said, everything that is taught in the seminar? If you had paid 5,000 Rand to be here, how much effort, energy, and focus would you be putting into this? I want you to pretend that you've actually done that. And that's why I asked you, you're welcome to open your eyes now. That's why I asked you to write down any lesson or breakthrough you think you may have had over the last 2 days, well, now 3. Because suddenly you realize, whoa, I came here for free, but I've gotten so much more than I thought I got. Maybe you got something completely different from what you thought the seminar was going to be about. Maybe you got new lessons, new breakthroughs. Maybe you knew all this stuff already, but now you're able to put those pieces in a pattern that works for you, that works for your success. Okay, that is the power of what you're learning here. I want you to imagine that you are squeezing every piece of value, every Rand, every Rand in that 5,000 Rand worth of value that you are getting each point of value. You're trying to get those breakthroughs, that you're putting in the effort, that when you're asked to stand up and you're asked to dance and you're asked to change your physiology, that you're playing full out. Why? For me? No. This is for you because you're at the seminar because you're looking for something more. And there's something more that you know you're worth. And what's happened is you've been playing out a pattern that's been giving you the same results. And so all I'm asking you is trust the process. Do what is being said in the seminar. Apply it. Don't just listen to it in the background and then forget about it. Do it now. As soon as you can, do it and apply it. Because if you keep repeating the same patterns, you're going to keep getting the same outcomes and you're going to be exactly where you are when you started the seminar. And so please, guys, please take the time to change your pattern. Do something different. Do something different and try. Trust the process and apply what you're learning now. I want to move on to something that's amazing. And you know, if you've been in one of my programs, I love something called neuro-linguistic programming, which is not just understanding the patterns of the human brain, but showing you the power that your brain has over your life. People talk about manifestation and things like that. And if I'm 100% honest, I don't know if I believe in just thinking something and it happens. I do believe that there's a process where I believe that there's multiple things that impact that process. I think that it's the story you tell yourself, which affects your emotional state, which affects the decisions you make and the actions you take, which will affect your outcomes. And that will either make or break you. That's what I believe in terms of manifestation. I believe there's a process to it. But I love showing people what their brain is fully capable of because I think sometimes a lot of us settle for this is what life is. I want us to talk about the power of our brain. Now, I want to tell you a story about something called learned helplessness. And if you're sitting here and you're like, I don't know what I've learned in the last 3 days, I haven't really had a big breakthrough, then pay attention because this part of the seminar is especially for you. If you have had a couple of lessons and you have had a breakthrough, then this is only going to enhance your experience. So stay tuned. Right, so Learned helplessness. The best way to describe this is by using a story called the baby elephant story. Now, before I tell the story, just know that I do not believe in animals being in captivity. I don't believe it unless an animal is injured and cannot be returned to the wild. So let me just put that out there. But in areas where they have elephants that they use for entertainment, or they have elephants for tourist attractions, what sometimes they do is when they get the baby elephant, they peg the baby elephant with a big bolt to the ground and a big chain around its neck. And as a baby, the elephant obviously tries to pull away and tries to struggle against its bond. But what happens is the elephant actually can't pull the peg out the ground because it's too little. And so what happens is it grows into a full-sized elephant, but it believes that it still can't get out the ground. But at its full size, at adult phase, absolutely the elephant could just pull the peg out the ground, right? If you've ever seen a movie called Water for Elephants, this you'll see this behavior. So when they had elephants in circuses, so they would get them young, and the elephants would be trained that when the peg is in the ground and the chain is on your neck, you can't move. So they grow up believing that. Of course, the one in Water for Elephants was pretty clever, so she knew what to do. But generally, they would stay there because they believed that they were stuck. And that's very much what we do in our own lives. So this is called learned helplessness. It's when things haven't worked out before, or we've listened to all the villains, or we've been conquered by all the monsters, and we believe that where we are now is where we'll always be, and this is what life is. This is it. Like we look at our life, we're not happy, and we're like, well, this is it. That's what it is. It is what it is. Anybody used or been told the phrase "it is what it is"? Okay, it's only what it is if that's what you choose to settle for, and that's the truth. Now, some of us, when it comes to learned helplessness, we become so comfortable in that learned helplessness that we become addicted to our excuses. Now, let me just put this out there. Any excuse you have not to level up in your life, not to take advice, not to do the seminar, to do the seminar, whatever it is, any excuse you have is always valid. All excuses are valid. If they weren't valid, they wouldn't be excuses, because our brain, remember, our brain is very clever. And if the excuse wasn't valid enough, our brain would throw it away. So any excuse that holds us back is valid, but it still remains an excuse. And just like we love to swipe that life debt credit card, boop, boop, we swipe it with the limiting beliefs, we can swipe it and we're going to get those high interest rates. So we can swipe our valid excuse, like our valid excuse card. This is a very valid excuse for me not to change anything. We can swipe it, but the interest rates are high. The interest rates come in no progress, not moving forward, remaining unhappy or feeling worse than we were when we realized that we're unhappy, getting down into a spiral. And so it's essential. It's essential that we understand that our addiction is our excuse not to level up. And that's what we actually need to get rid of. That's what we need to break through. And until we do that, nothing is going to change. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach you a really cool technique. It's an NLP technique. I'm going to teach you a technique that's going to help reprogram your brain to shift the vision of the valid excuse that keeps coming forward. So the first thing I'm going to show you is that our brain can't actually comprehend the negative. Now, remember, what you learned at the first part of the seminar is that this is an answering machine, okay? It's a search engine that if you ask it something or if you tell it something, it's going to provide answers. It talks back to you. So if I say to you, don't think of the color blue, the first color you thought of, whether you wanted to or not, was blue. Why does our brain do that? Because when we use a negative word like don't do something, our brain has that survival switch of like, are you talking about this? Because it wants a very quick response it wants to confirm what the negative scenario is. And so what it does is it says, do you mean this color? Don't think about this color? Okay, I won't. And then maybe you thought of a second color. But the first thing your brain did was showed you the color blue to confirm that this was the big no so that you could step out. So isn't it amazing that if I told you not to think about something, that you would think about it? If I said, don't think of a giraffe. Yeah, I thought of a giraffe. Okay, So what this shows us is that where our focus goes, energy flows. Now, what does this mean for our life? It basically means when we're addicted to our excuses, we basically validate them and we put energy into those excuses and they reinforce our negative beliefs. Have you ever wanted to do something or tried something and then in your head you were like, don't fail, don't fail, don't fail, don't fail, don't fail, don't fail. And because you were so focused on not failing and your brain can't comprehend the difference, it was just like, fail, fail, don't fail, don't fail. The stress came up, the cortisol came up, and you didn't do as well as you wanted to, or you failed. Okay. If you like had this thing in your life, you're like, I hope this doesn't happen. 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 And what happens is you put all your focus into the thing you don't want to happen, that the energy flows towards the thing you don't want to happen and it happens. Have you ever felt that? Hands up if that's ever happened in your life. Okay, most of us have experienced that, right? Most of us have experienced that focusing on exactly the outcome you don't want, and that's what happens. And it's because this is so powerful that what we focus on, it shifts our energy towards that. And then those are the outcomes that happen because we react and we take action towards that thing that we're focused on. Okay. Now, a really cool example of this is I'm a horse rider. I'm not a race car driver, so I'm more of a horse rider. And the same thing happens is like when you're focused on what you don't want to happen in horse riding, inevitably, whatever happens in your body, and the horse riding is the best way to describe this because as soon as we think it, it shifts our physiology. And as soon as our physiology shifts, it sends the horse a message and the horse reacts to that. So, for example, one of the easiest ones to think of is like if you don't want your horse to run, the worst thing you can do is clench your body and lean forward, okay? Because as soon as you do that, you're going to like an urging position where you're like urging the horse. So you're actually urging the horse to go faster. And so the horse goes, oh, you want me to go faster? And you're clenched, okay, I'm gone. And so the horse runs and you're like, no, don't do it. And it's because you're so focused on what you don't want to happen that your body reacts as if it's already happening. And so the horse responds. The horse does it. Okay? So the other thing that happens is like with horse riding, same thing is in direction. If you look this way and you try and steer your horse that way, it's really difficult. And so what your instructor in horse riding will often say is, look where you want to go, especially if you're doing show jumping. They won't say, look over there, they'll say, look where you want to go. And as soon as you're in line with the jump, you stop looking at the jump and they say, now look up ahead. So don't look at the jump, don't look at the obstacle, look through the obstacle. You look through the obstacle to where you're going. Otherwise, you're either going to stop at the obstacle or you're not going to get the obstacle done right. So horse riding is a really great way to explain this process of where focus goes, energy flows. Okay. And so it's really important that we get very clear when we ask our brain about that possibility image, that image of like, if I were to succeed in this area, what would that look like? And we need to get that image ingrained in our body. Now, what I'm going to teach you now is something called the Swoosh Technique. If you're capable, please stand up out of your seat so we can do this. If you're not capable and you need to sit in your chair, that's absolutely fine. You can use your arms of motion. If you're not capable of doing that, it's fine. Just use your mind as far and as strong as you possibly can. Not a problem. Okay, so if you're capable, please stand up. We're going to do this. It's called the Swoosh Technique. Now, this is a neurolinguistic programming technique. Okay, I did not invent this. It's been part of the industry for a while. But what it does is, it basically is like an amazing plaster that you plaster over your excuse. So think of wallpaper. Have you ever like seen those restoration movies where as they start peeling back wallpaper, they see all the old wallpaper? So what we're going to do is we're going to paste a new wallpaper over that limiting belief, over that excuse, okay, over that fear of failure. We're going to place it over that so that every time your brain thinks about the negative, the positive wallpaper gets plastered over it almost immediately. Isn't that amazing? So we're going to do that. So stand up, shake your body out. You know what we're going to do? Deep breath in. Hold it. And release. Deep breath in. Hold it. And release. Good. Okay, so shake your body out. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is I'm going to ask you in a few moments, don't do it yet. In a few moments, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And then I'm going to ask you to imagine your biggest fear. In this area that you want to level up in, we're choosing one of the three areas right now. So one of the three areas that you selected on day one, choose one of the areas. And we've already identified, yesterday we identified what might be the biggest obstacle. So that would be, the biggest obstacle is usually connected to our biggest fear. So in terms of that, think of what is your biggest fear in trying to level up in this area. Maybe it's the fear of failure. Maybe it's the fear of losing the friends you already had. Maybe it's the fear that you know the change is going to mean that you have to break out of a relationship. Whatever it is, what is the biggest fear? And I'm going to ask you to imagine that. Okay, so you're going to imagine and visualize what that fear is. And then you're going to imagine the opposite of that fear, which is the success. Okay, so you're going to imagine the possibility, just like we've done in the last few days. So you're going to enforce that possibility image. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to think of the negative image. So the fear or the obstacle, and it's going to be like a big screen in your mind. And then from the back, so watch the screen now, watch what I'm doing. I'm going to ask you, so this is your negative image that you're putting to the forefront of your mind. And I'm going to ask you to imagine the positive image, the powerful positive image of your success, of actually accomplishing this and what your life will look like when you do. To come all the way from the back of that image, bigger, it's getting bigger, it's getting bigger, it's getting bigger, it's getting bigger. And then as it gets here, it's going to break through the negative image. And so the positive image is going to be blown up big in the front of your mind with intense colors, intense emotion. It's going to be this positive image. And we're going to keep doing it fast. And as we do this breakthrough, I'm going to ask you to actually, as you're imagining it, as it breaks through for you, you're going to take your right hand and you're going to go swish, like you're actually smashing through that negative belief, that fear, that obstacle. You're going to break through it with a swish, and the positive image is going to swipe up to the forefront of your mind with intense colors. And we're going to start slow at first. I'm going to say, imagine the negative image. Okay, positive image coming, swish, it breaks through. Positive image, and we're going to do it again. Negative image up, positive image coming from behind, bam, bam, swish, okay, and positive image. And then we're going to go faster, so fast that I want it to feel almost impossible. Don't worry, just keep trying your best. It will feel like you can't do it. It's going to feel like, it's too fast. That's the point. So we're going to start slow, swish, swish, and then it's going to go faster. And every time you hear swish, you need to imagine that positive image breaking through the old negative excuse, the limiting belief, that fear, and filling the forefront of your mind with intense colors, that positive emotion, that positive reality of your success. Okay, are you ready? Close your eyes for me. Good. Take a deep breath. Shake your body out. Close your eyes. I want you to imagine the negative image. To bring it to the forefront of your mind, let it fill your mind, that negative image of your possible failure, of the big obstacle, the big fear that you're facing and elevating in this area of your life. Okay. I want it to fill the forefront of your mind. Okay, here we go. Far in the back, far behind that image, I want you to imagine the positive image, the positive reality of your success getting bigger, 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 and then swish, it smashes through the negative image. Let that positive image fill your mind. Let it fill your mind. Good job. Great. Amazing. Okay, negative image up. Negative image, let it fill your mind. Here comes, there you go, negative image filling the forefront of your mind. And then bring that positive image from the back, forward, forward, forward. It's getting bigger, and swish. Let the positive image fill up your mind. Positive image filling up your mind, intense colors, experience the reality, experience the emotion. All right, positive image down, negative image up. Here we go. Positive image coming to the back, getting bigger, swish. All right, again, negative image up. Positive image coming from behind, getting bigger, swish, smashing through, and the positive image is filling up your mind. Feel the emotion, experience the reality. I'm going to start just saying swish faster and faster, and I want you to be pulling up that negative image, smashing the positive image through, letting it fill your mind as fast as you hear the word swish. Okay, negative image up, and swish. Remember to use your hand to really smash it out the way, and swish. Good. And swish. Swish. As fast as you can. Swish. Swish. Negative up. Positive in. Swish. Switch, 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 switch. Okay, good. Okay, good. Great. Now I want you to shake it out. Open your eyes for me. Great job. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to bring up the negative image. And what you're going to notice is as soon as that negative image comes up, the positive image comes up with it. Right? Great. So this is the swoosh technique. And this swoosh technique allows you to start wallpapering over the fear and the limiting belief with the positive reality. Okay? And you want to keep doing this. And basically what you're doing is instead of having your focus on the negative reality, your focus is going to be on but this is the positive reality. This is the positive reality. And this technique helps you bring forward the positive reality and possibilities rather than that expectation of fear and failure. Okay, before we end off, there's one last thing I want to share with you guys today. First of all, well done on today. You met some villains today. You learned about their poisons. You learned about the red flags. Tomorrow, we have a very, very special thing that we'd like to introduce to you. This is a secret. You are the very first people who are hearing about this. We have not advertised it or publicized it on any other platform. So if you're watching this video, you're going to be the first to hear that TBM is releasing a new service. If you've been wanting coaching programs, you want to have access to all our content, our events, you want to have the value, but you felt like you haven't been able to access that before in your current state, TBM is going to be offering access to something called the TBM Inner Circle. And what we're going to be offering you is a membership where you're going to get access to some really awesome stuff, which we'll share with you tomorrow. I don't want to give too much away, but this is going to be an exclusive deal to you who showed up at the seminar, who took the brave, courageous step to show up and play full out. We're going to be introducing the service to you first, okay? We're going to be sharing some exclusive bonuses with you only, for those of you who showed up first, and these bonuses are only going to be available for 7 days after this event. So only for 7 days after this event will you have access to these bonuses. So if you are one of the first people to show up for Monsters and Mentors and you were brave and courageous enough to trust the process, you're going to have access to this exclusive service and its bonuses for 7 days. 7 days you'll have access to the bonuses. So guys, congratulations on day 3. You were amazing. You played full out, and you know how we're going to end this, right? We're going to dance it up naturally. All right, guys, well done. Congratulations. I will see you guys tomorrow. And that's day 4. Can you believe it? Tomorrow's going to be amazing. We're going to be tackling some amazing things. You'll see I'm not going to give anything away, but we'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to join the private Facebook